Okay, let us talk about esoterism and how we can define the semantic esoterism so we all can understand what we are talking about. What is esoterism? What is the difference between an esoteric person and a religious person? I haven't heard any real good explanation of this. What's the difference between a materialistic atheist and an esoteric person? What is esoterism? That's an important question to answer, and I haven't heard any good explanation, any good language to use to describe the differences. So let's discuss esoterism. What is esoterism? I would define it as such. In esoterism you have a belief in something, what you hold to be true, and you have a method. And this is two very distinct and different aspects of an esoteric person and an esoterism. Belief. The most important is, of course, method. It is how we evolve, how we transform. This is not a belief, it's a method. In the same way as a person goes to a gym to train his body, he needs a method how to gain the muscles or the physique he wants. Is he a bodybuilder? What is he? Is he an athlete? What kind of muscle do you want? And needed instruction, instructor, how to get to the result he wants to. That has to be very precise. He cannot just go into the gym and lift weight randomly and hope for the best. He cannot go to a gym one day a week and train 1 hour and go home. He needs a plan, he needs a method how to get results. An esoteric person is exactly the same as a person who wants to train his body, but we train mentally, spiritually, so we can measure our advancement. So in that regard, it's a very scientific method. But a person outside of us cannot measure it. We feel the transformation. We experience the transformation. And this is the problem, isn't it? Because when the scientists ask us for the result, how can they confirm our result? They cannot. The scientific method is empirical. So you can allow others to measure your results and see if they come to the same conclusion as you have. In esotericism, you cannot do that. So it's useless to talk to other persons. They have to do the training, the same training as we do, to see if we are liars or if it is some trustworthy method. And that's the most important part in esotericism. Every esoteric person knows this. A real esoteric person. So when we come to belief, that's another thing. We can believe, we hold things to be true, an ontology, how we view the world, reality. We all have an ontology. But I cannot say that I know this to be true. We can hold it to be true. And we can talk about this truth to others. But that is not what's going to save you. It's the training. And all real esoteric person want to push the way through the material world to the metaphysical world. So all the method is aimed to that goal. We want to change our point of view to the metaphysical. There are different methods to get there. So if you say you are an Christian Gnostic, you have your method. If you say you are a Lurianic Kabbalist, you have your method. If you are a left-hand practitioner, you have your method. To get to the metaphysical, to push your way through the material facade. And we know it's a facade. Every esoteric person who come somewhere, who have trained, practiced, know the material is an illusion. It's just a facade. But we cannot prove that to anyone. Aren't you prepared to do the method we tell you? And if you aren't prepared to train, you will not get anywhere. So we cannot prove it to you. We cannot prove the metaphysical, but we know it's there. So if you talk to a person and say, you're wrong, we don't believe you, who cares? We do it every week. We are there. We experience. We fail. Try again. We get to a different result, hopefully better. A religious person is an exoteric person. Esoterism rely on other people to save you. They wait for Jesus. They wait. They try to live a good life. Hopefully they end up in heaven or somewhere else. They are passive. They don't train. And that's the point of religion, to make people passive. So religion is just a belief in something. Doesn't mean anything. They don't go anywhere. They don't transform. They can feel the transformation. They can feel happiness, joy, hope. But it is not a method. To pray is not a method. To pray to God to change, it will not happen. We know that your purpose here is to train, to transform, to grow in spirit. We know it's a purpose. We know that you are here for a purpose. And I think you waste your time if you hold yourself back. Religion comes from the word relegare, to hold back. That is exactly what it is. Jesus won't come to save you. Doesn't mean that the Bible is meaningless. We know there are a lot of good information in there. And I'm going to talk about it. And I don't agree with the atheist materialist that it is just there to control people. There are much more to it than that, of course. And you have to discern between the Old Testament and the New one. Two totally different things. So the shamans, or the Christian Gnostics, they have their method. We know that the shamans use music, rhythm, drugs to experience the other side. The left-hand practitioners use theurgy to communicate with spirits. Lurian Kabbalists try to see themselves through other people and change. the conspiracy buffs are, many of them are religious person who try to tell others what an esoteric person is, or what an esoteric method is, or what symbols, and they don't know anything. And that's very sad. The discussion become ridiculous. They're full of bullshit, nonsense. I think it would be good to have a good discussion. But it's very hard to have a good discussion with people who view everyone and everything as evil as soon as they don't agree with their dogmas. So it becomes useless. Same goes with the conspiracy buffs, and it's become just waste of time. To push to the other side, to leave the material illusion and travel beyond. We know that reality is mental. They are not solid. Nothing is solid. And we are there every week, every month, every year to see what's behind the facade. And it doesn't matter if you believe it or not, because we use a method to go there. We don't care if you don't believe it. And of course, the human ego is very stubborn. So if you cannot show others your result, then the ego tells you it's useless. If you don't get any physical result to show the neighbor that you have trained, or you get money, or whatever it is, then the ego tells you it's useless. What is to gain? So it's a very hard starting point, because you have to convince the ego that it's worthwhile to do this. But when you have, then the game is on, and you realize that this material world is just a digital chess game, and you have been played. You are the farmer, and you are just pushed. And then you start to learn the rules of the game, and then you can start play it on your own without being played. Then you start to leave the material facade, push your way through to the metaphysical, to reality. There are many things that unite us esoteric people. We have different methods, similar experiences. Then we have our beliefs. We can believe different things. We can draw different conclusions from our experiences. We can have a discussion about it. And we have. And we share our methods with each other. The point is to make the humanity passive. They don't want you to use these methods. They don't want you to grow. They don't want you to push through the material illusion to the metaphysical reality. They hold you back. And it's very sad. So to conclude the differences between these worldviews, these ontologies. The materialistic atheists, they believe heavily in science. Science is only interested in what you can measure. They are empiricists. What you can measure with your five senses. And they want others to be able to measure what you have measured, so they can confirm your results. That's not a bad thing. And I met many good scientists, and I studied long in universities. And this is also a very important point. They are not saying they don't believe in the esoteric ontologies or the religious either, for that matter. But what they are saying is this: we are only interested in what we can measure and reproduce with our five senses. That is our tools. We cannot measure anything else. Therefore, it's a remote point. They don't say we don't say we know that you are wrong. I know there are scientists who travel around the world and try to convince everyone the atheist, materialistic point of view, but that's not university. There are individuals from university who are doing it. They don't speak for everyone. I have met doctors who are Christians, esoteric people. That's just a lie that they all are like atheist materialists. A religious person is an exoteric person. They rely on someone else to come to save them. Or they wait for something to happen. And it won't. And that's the point of religion. To hold them back, to make them passive. It doesn't make them evil. It's just make them passive. An esoteric person knows that the material world is an illusion and are interested in the metaphysical. So they need a method to take them there. And this method is very exact. And you can tell others how to do it if they are interested. And if they do it and then do it right, they will get results. And they will also see what other esoteric person has seen before them. And an esoteric person have two parts: an esoteric method and a belief. And that's very, very important to understand. It's two different parts of the esotericism. So don't confuse them. We cannot say we know things. We don't know things, but we have a method to take us to the other side of the material facade. So we know the material to be an illusion. But then we can debate and have belief what it means. And we have new questions when we come to the other side. We cannot answer. And then we can debate and have a belief what it means. A method we can tell others, show them how to do it, how to break free from the material shackles. And if they fail, they should question our method. If they try and try and try again, of course you cannot have a result if you go to gym one day and lift some random weights and go home. You have to use the method in a correct manner. And I know humanity is like, if I haven't wrestled in one day, it's not worthwhile. Then I go home and watch television or live in my stale illusion, because they don't have the mental capacity to do what it takes. Doesn't mean the method is wrong. But if you have used the method for a while, and you talk to your esoteric teacher over and over again, and you don't get results, and you do everything correct, then you should question that person. Maybe it's a fake, try to sell you some bullshit, crystals and feathers and new age garbage in a store. That's not a real esoteric person. It's a fraud. There are many people like that. Don't worry, you have to discern. Now, personally, I don't put any effort in people who ain't sincere. And they shouldn't waste time on me if I cannot take them to the other side, so they can evaluate if my method is good or not. Humanity play many games, fool themselves over and over again, stumble and fall. Finally, you will reach the metaphysical. That's your destiny, whatever you want it or not. It's up to you how long you will wait, but you are here to train. You are here for a reason. I can promise you that. This is not just a circus and then you die, you pay your ticket and it's over. No. They want you to believe that, but it's not true. This is not an atheistic, materialistic circus. Okay, I hope you have understood what an esoteric person is. You are free to ask questions, and I will explain it in other words, or explain something new. If you have a question about things you want me to elaborate on, take care. Bye-bye.